Welcome to Win the Day from Back to the Bible. I'm your coach, Pastor Nat, and today we will talk about pushing the boundaries of grace. I remember several years ago, my family was really struggling financially. We had very little resources. My wife had recently stopped working to care for our son with cancer. This commitment to care for our son and family was crucial. We decided that this was where my wife belonged and felt called to be. So sacrifice was simply part of our life. On several occasions, my wife and I were invited out for an event or even for a meal. What we often experienced was incredible compassion and generosity. We never felt shamed. We never felt different because of our economic status. Instead, we felt included and loved. Ruth was a foreigner and a widow. She was in a similar situation, and the care and the compassion only multiplied. So what exactly happened to Ruth? Let's go back to the Bible for the answer in Ruth chapter 2, beginning in verse 14. And at mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come here and eat some bread, and dip your morsel in the wine." So she sat beside the reapers, and he passed her roasted grain. And she ate until she was satisfied, and she had some left over. When she rose to glean, Boaz instructed his young men, saying, "Let her glean even among the sheaves, and do not reproach her. And also, pull out some of the bundles for her, and leave it for her to glean, and do not rebuke her." In the previous verses, Boaz notices Ruth. He's heard about her and her mother-in-law. He blesses her with protection and provision. It's an amazing scene. It's not culturally normal. But then here in verses 14 through 16, it's downright scandalous. Sometime after their verbal exchange, Boaz says, "Come here." This reminds us that they were not the same. He was an Israelite. She was a Moabite. He was a man. She was a woman. He was wealthy. She was destitute. So though his generosity was amazing, she still kept her respectful and cultural distance. He tells her to come here, eat some bread, and dip your morsel in the wine. So she comes to eat the bread and enhances it with some wine. This destitute outsider is welcome to sit and eat with Boaz and his workers. But his generosity doesn't stop there. What happens is unheard of. He continues to bless them by giving her roasted grain. So much so, she has to get the doggy bags. They are overflowing. Now, surely that's enough. Surely he's pushed the boundaries far enough in grace. Hardly. In verses 15 through 16, he tells the workers, "Okay, now that lunch is over, let her walk with you. But you pull the grain and give it to her and make sure it's like lunch. I want her to have so much that it's over and abundant. I want it to be so much that she can't handle it." And that's exactly what happens. And then here, let's look at verse 17. So she gleaned in the field until evening. Then she beat out what she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. So how much barley is that? Well, it was enough to sustain several people for an extended amount of time. In other words, you better bring the trailer, Ruth. It's a lot of grain. Friend, I know it may not seem like we're experiencing a Ruth moment, but I encourage you to pause. Look around you. As my friend and mentor Michael Frazina says, "Nat, if you're warm, you're fed, dry, and safe, you are having a good day. You are incredibly blessed." You know, he's right. I may not have a trailer full of barley, but that's good. I don't know what I would do with barley. But when I'm honest, I have grace upon grace in my life. And all that I have is from God. It's my prayer we all see God's provision and protection. It's here. It's all around us. The question is, will we see it?